Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. We got a lot of promos. So we got PrizePicks Taco Tuesday, kind of a shitty discount, 7.5 to 6.5. Feels like they could have gone to 5.5 or something like that, but is what it is. And then on Underdog Fantasy, damn, so we're waiting on this play on Junior. I mean, some decent plays open, but we'll have to see what's going on. But they have a boosted payout, right? So usually Underdog Fantasy, if you take a look at the website, it's a 6x payout for these 3-pick entries. But basically, if you include Max Muncie tonight, they're going to give you an 8x payout. And it's only a max of $10, which is a little lame. But regardless, let's kind of go ahead. Let's look for some plays. So what we can do is, let's go here. Okay, I got it up. So let's look for a play on Muncie. So what we need to do is we need to figure out like some good pairs to go with for Max Muncie. So the first thing we can do is kind of like take a look. Underdog doesn't say, right? You get an 8x payout if you take his over or his under. So the first thing we need to figure out is like, okay, do we want to take Muncie's over or his under? So what you can kind of do is like look at the sports books, so you can see in general, if we just kind of zoom in, it seems like most sports books, Fanatics, MGM, 10bet, Betway, like they all have his under favored, at least a little more favored, than his over. So if we go back here to Max Muncie and we take a look, right, you can see hot streak. They have more juice towards the under, so it's pretty close. But you can see like DraftKings, right? So if we go over to DraftKings, we go to MLB lines and we kind of take a look at this. So if we go over to batter props and then we look at, player bases, you can see Muncie, right? He's favored to go under, very slightly. But what that tells us is we should probably lean. And again, I follow a very data-driven approach. Again, it's not a ton of juice. It doesn't really matter if you take Muncie's over or under that much. But I'm going to take his under because, again, I'm just following the data. The betting market, the sports books have his under as like a minus 120 favorite. So that's the better pick to go with. So then what we can do is we can head over to Underdog and, we can try to find some plays. So last night we found some good, pretty big line discrepancies. So like Rafinha, for example, his line on Underdog was 3. I took the under. Then if you look at, PrizePicks, his line was 2. So I middle bet this. I hit the over 2. I hit the under 3, right? So if he has 2 shots on goal. So long story short, like there's some big line discrepancies in soccer. So the next play we can go with is, Barcelona goalie under 2.5 saves. And why do we like this, right? Like, again, all these books have invested a lot of money in their ability to set lines. So if you take a look here, it's like, okay, like, PrizePicks and ParlayPlay are 2 sports books that are both telling us his line should be at 2. Underdog Fantasy has his line at 2.5, so we want to take the under, right? And again, this OddsJam Fantasy Optimizer is just like, it's just pointing out value in the market, discrepancies. Most bets aren't good bets, right? We're kind of looking for the few plays on Underdog where we can like really get an edge. So for this promo, you really want to go with 3-pick entries. Those are optimal. So if you take a look here, like for Chris Ramos, it looks like only PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy have a shot attempted lineup. So I'm going to skip over this play. It's like PrizePicks versus Underdog. You only have 2 data points. Whereas for the second one, this player saves line, right? Like we have 2 other sports books, 2 data points telling us, this guy's line should be at 2. Underdog Fantasy's at 2.5. So, seems like a good play to go with. Although sometimes we can find plays, if we just like look up the Barcelona game, sometimes like maybe we could find some positively correlated plays, but whatever. Let's just kind of skip over that for now. So where do we want to go to next? Damn. So we can see here early, taking a Tua under is a little scary, but hey, maybe a little bit of regression to the mean. You can see Tua's line is 286.5 here. So books are starting to drop NFL lines for Sunday. And then if we take a look at like PrizePicks, all the other books have him lower. So again, I follow a very data-driven approach. The data never lies. But if, and you can see there's a lot of good options right now, actually. So the first thing we can do is we can lock in this promo bet, right? It's only a max of $10. And again, we're getting an 8x payout. So this is a boosted payout. So the first thing we can do is we can lock in this right here. So I took Max Muncie's under, and then I took another 2 unders. What's up, guys? Don't use your Muncie boost. Ah, shit. I shouldn't have used the Muncie boost, I guess. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here. Let's go back to Underdog. I mean, there's going to be some good plays on PrizePicks. It's Taco Tuesday as well. But what I do want to do is ideally we can finish out this, on Underdog Fantasy, I only bet $10. I think, both of these plays are pretty good. So what we can do is we can start to build a new slip, Underdog Fantasy gives me a max of $100, per player per day. So I've already bet $10 on Mark Andre, whatever. So I'll be able to get like $90 on the next slip I include with him. So again, a lot of these discrepancies where there's only 2 data points, La Liga, a lot of soccer props, some big line discrepancies. But again, like a lot of those I just skip over because there's only 2 data points. It's hard to see it's PrizePicks versus Underdog. And there's a discrepancy between them, but it's not really clear which sportsbook is screwing up, yada, yada, yada. Here you can see it's you always want to see more data points telling you the same thing. So for this play, Mo, right? Underdog has his line at 40.5, PrizePicks 38.5, JockMKT 38. So obviously, Underdog Fantasy, we'd rather bet his under, and of course they already locked it. You can see right here. So again, great bets. They're not going to last forever. That's why I try to move relatively quickly on these live streams, especially for Underdog. They just move some of these lines pretty dang fast, which can be frustrating. So, obviously here, same thing for Gabe. It's like Underdog Fantasy, once again. They're 2 kills higher than PrizePicks, 2 higher than JockMKT. So, just kind of you can see here, there's 3 plays in this game. Again, as a sports bettor, we want to follow the value. If there's a lot of line discrepancies in CSGO, I'll be, playing more CSGO. I don't really care. But anyways, we can look at some of these other CSGO plays as well. So this play, for example, Proxima, and no, this is a Valorant play. So you can see here, Underdog has the line at 34, PrizePicks ParlayPlay 32.5. So again, the reason, a lot of people like to look at historical data, how did Tua do last game, yada, yada, yada. But all that stuff is pretty irrelevant because it's already baked into the market, right? You hear a lot of people it's going to be bad weather, I'm going to take the under. It's these sports books, they know if it's going to be bad weather, right? These books are constantly moving around their lines. You can see here, right? Lines are already starting to move for college football lines out this weekend. Lines move due to lineup changes, injuries, stuff like that. So everything's baked into the market. Just like if a company, makes a lot of money, has a really good quarterly earnings, their stock price will go up to reflect the new information in the market that the company's doing well. Damn, so we got a lot of bets on Fliff. So the total's been moving higher in this Rams game. You can see here, right? After last night, it looks like, even though the Rams looked horrible, you can see Pinnacle has moved. Pinnacle is known to be one of the sharper, more sophisticated bookmakers. In the Rams-Colts game, they've moved the over 46 points from plus 100 down to minus 120-ish within the past, hour or so. So who knows, right? Maybe a lot of early action, a lot of sharp action, an unbalanced amount of action is coming in on the over. Just like if a lot of people buy a stock, the price goes up, supply and demand. So maybe all the early action is coming in on the over, all the sharp action. Maybe there's lineup changes. I mean, who knows, right? You can see some hockey plays starting to pop up as well. But anyways, let's finish out this Underdog play. So we have Tua. We can see if they bring back. Sometimes they'll bring back a prop. They'll scratch it initially. So if we go to this Mark Andre, nope, it looks like they completely pulled him. So that kind of sucks. But regardless, we'll find some good picks to go with. So let me just refresh this. And, again, all these plays, for example, I mean, again, you only have 2 data points. That's what makes it harder for these, right? Chris Ramos, it's PrizePicks versus Underdog. not a ton of books, surprisingly, have soccer player prop lines. So you just don't have a ton of data points kind of to compare to. So anyways, let's go back to Underdog and let's try to find some picks to go with. And again, if you're just tuning in, what do we have locked in? Yada, yada, yada. I mean, we hit a bunch of plays yesterday on the live stream. I mean, like a shit ton of plays. Here's what I locked in for the Muncie boost. It looked like this play moved, but regardless, we'll still find some good picks. So anyways, let's go here and, what else are we feeling? So Braxton Garrett, under 5.5 strikeouts. I mean, some of these plays look interesting. So, you look at this play, Boros, right? It's like, okay, Underdog, his headshot line is 25. If we take a look at PrizePicks, for CSGO, 26.5. Same thing with ParlayPlay. They also have his line at 26.5. We have a good parlay, it's looking good. It's all down to McCowan tonight. This is from yesterday's live stream. But what we can also do is we can check out Hot Streak, which is another sports book that has headshot lines up. So if we just go to never did I think I would be betting on headshots so much. But hey, if that's where the value is, that's where the value is. So here, it's okay, this play's, very clearly good. So, again, you can kind of just follow OddsJam and just go down the list and take these discrepancies. I just kind of like to more explain the logic, try to fine tune it a bit. And again, the more data points you can see, and this betting tool is just the sportsbook screen, all telling you the same thing, the better, right? Underdog has this line at 25. You have 1, 2, 3, 3 other sportsbooks saying, no, his line should be at 26.5. So it's okay, we want to take the over, right? And again, if you go through the math behind Underdog Fantasy, where's my Underdog spreadsheet? Is what you'll see is for these 3-pick entries, Underdog, again, has pretty good payouts, right? They give you a 6x payout for 3-pick entries. PrizePicks, they only give you 5x, right? So PrizePicks is a ripoff for these 3-pick entries. Underdog Fantasy has a pretty good payout. All you got to do to be profitable playing 3-pick entries is win your over-unders, right? If you can win your prop bets, just Tua over-under, 286.5, if you can win these, 56% of the time, whatever, your ROI is going to be positive 5%. This is a fixed payout platform. They don't change your payout, right? Based on you selecting over versus under, whatever picks you select. So it all just boils down to what percentage of your picks, can you win? So anyways, what we can do is we can refresh this. The Braxton Garrett play seemed good as well. So we can go to Braxton Garrett. So why is this a play winning? Why did OddsJam, why does the Fantasy Optimizer, recommend this play? And you can see it right here. Braxton Garrett under 5.5 strikeouts is, if you take a look at DraftKings, right, everything's just, kind of based in data. Nothing super complicated. If we go back here to pitcher props, what I assume is Braxton Garrett, he's heavily favored to go under, right? So all the sports books, even if you don't use DraftKings, you still want to know, where they're setting their lines. So you can see here, right? Caesars has him as an even bigger underdog. DraftKings, he's only minus 135 to go under. Caesars has him minus 149. So Caesars has him as an even bigger favorite to go, under. Minus 149 versus minus 135. So there we go. We got 3 picks. Let's get rid of fucking soccer for a second here. And then what we can kind of do, I mean, again, you can go with these CSGO plays if you want to. If you don't want to, I mean, whatever. What we can do, too, is we can play a little 5-pick entry. So 5-pick entries, again, the number of picks you go with matters. Obviously, a PrizePicks is only giving you, a 3x payout, or sorry, a 5x payout for 3-pick entries. Underdog Fantasy is giving you 6x. Seems like you want to take the 6x's on Underdog. So what we can do is we can always fuck it. We can dabble in one of these esports plays. Again, esports kind of sucks just because you have less data points. If you look at an MLB game, and again, it's free to browse odds on OddsJam, any market you want to look at. But for the MLB, you got tons of sports books posting lines. I mean, there's 100 sports books posting lines on at the MLB. So you have a ton of data points, right? it's pretty clear here where the Dodgers line should be set because you have all these billion-dollar companies, sophisticated books with sophisticated models. You have a lot of action kind of shaping the lines, right? It's like an efficient market. Action's coming in, books are kind of balancing action, moving lines around, yada, yada, yada. Whereas esports, you just kind of, you have less data points. So I like this play, but again, I'm not as confident in it just because there's less data points. So what we can do is we can go with a little 5-pick entry. So we have Geloff, no single. So venturing a bit lower on this page, but I do think some of these unders and singles are pretty solid. Damn, you can see there's some headshot plays too as you go even lower. So like, what's the deal with this play? So maybe this play is even better. No. So that plays unfortunately in the same game. So we'll just go with this. So we have, an NFL pick, 2 CSGO picks, and then we have, a couple MLB picks. We have Zach Geloff, no single. Kojo Mo, under 40.5 kills. We got Braxton Garrett, under 5.5 Ks. So anyways, we got a little 5-pick entry here. So we'll lock it in. I've already hit my limit. Oh, I'm only going to be able to bet $90 because I already included 10 for the promo on Muncie. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5 unders. WNBA. WNBA. Man, we got some WNBA lovers in here. Yeah, 2 obviously played well. I mean, we'll see. Bills game, obviously going to be closer, but we'll see. I mean, who do you think's going to win this game, right? Bills, Dolphins. If you want to bet on the Bills, -142 on FanDuel looks like the best price you can get them. Best odds you can get on the Dolphins, +137 on Bookmaker. So should be an interesting game. There's actually a lot of close games, in the NFL Week 4, which is nice. So what we can do is we can go back to the EV tool, whatever, and kind of look at ParlayPlay or Fliff. Maybe we go to Fliff. Where's Fliff? So what we can do is we can go back here. And again, depending on where you're located, I say this all the time, but I love FanDuel. I just don't have access to it right now. There's a lot of good soccer bets on FanDuel. Like you can see they have this line +164. All the other books like +130-ish. And they also run a lot of good promos, right? The same way, Underdog Fantasy. The same way Underdog Fantasy has this like promo profit boost, whatever, on Muncie, This play is pretty solid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What was I saying? So you can see here, like they're giving you, FanDuel has a 50% profit boost for Thursday Night Football. So +100 odds goes to +150. They just increase the profit by 50%. I mean, maybe there's some strings attached. Doesn't look like there's any strings attached, but typically what I do is what you can do, even better put, is you can just go to this low holds tool on OddsJam, and if you just put in FanDuel, all this tool is going to do is show you where FanDuel is giving you, good odds. So what's Thursday Night Football? I think it's a Lions Packers. So nope, we want to go to NFL. And you can see here, FanDuel, right? We put in the Lions game. We have NFL. What are some good options to go with? So like this play, for example, maybe over 7.5 first quarter total points, +100. So with the 50% profit boost, this is going to go to +150, right? Which obviously looks really good considering no other book's giving you better than -108. So FanDuel is already, decent value if you want to take the over. They're giving you +100. But you can get them +150, with this 50% profit boost. And again, too, another thing to mention is you could hedge that on DraftKings, right? Like you can always arbitrage bet these profit boosts and typically turn them into like a risk-free profit of $5, $10, something like that. So like on FanDuel with the profit boost, you're going to be getting the over at +150. You could bet the under at -112, lock in a little risk-free profit. if you just go to like an arbitrage calculator. So plus 150, minus 112, let's say the promo has a max bet size of $10. You know, you can make a risk-free $2 if you hedge on DraftKings. And again, it's not glamorous, but it's free money for just a few minutes of work. Anyways. So I'm going to call this live stream for now. I'll be back on in a bit to do the Taco Tuesday. You can see there's some line discrepancies here. Kind of interesting, right? You know, we have Desmond, 193.5 on ParlayPlay, 199.5 on Underdog and Vivid picks. So there's definitely some early line discrepancies. You know, here there's some plays on, you know, ParlayPlay, whatever. But call it a day for now. Hopefully you were able to tail this Underdog play. Be back in a bit, but